Well, hello there, weary traveler. What brings you in today? Stamina potions, eh? Well, I do have some freshly made, but why don't you stay a while and rest? You seem like you could use a break from your travels. I'll put on some jasmine rooibos tea, and when you're ready to venture out again, I will get those potions for you. Ah yes, what a lovely tea this is. Now, you look like you've come a long way. Where do you come from, traveler?
Oh, hey guys, it's me again, Natural Wizard. Welcome back to my channel, and a happy Monday to you all. Now for today's video, we will once again be jumping back into r/entitled parents. I've got an energy drink and I'm ready to read some posts, so let the fun begin. Okay, this first entitled parent story is called Entitled Parents Demand I Break the Law. So I work in a hospital on the neuro floor, so we get everything from spinal surgeries to kidney transplants. Most of our patients tend to be older people, either in their 40s or older, but we do sometimes get very young people. This week I had the unpleasant task of dealing with the most entitled parents I've ever met. So I'm a nursing aide. We come in and do vitals, round on patients, help them with their needs, bladder scans, ECGs, etc. The PT is brought up from the surgery floor, and he's added as one of my patients. I note that this poor kid who was receiving a cranial surgery to remove a tumor was very young, only 14. I start the admit process, vitals, etc., and my charge nurse calls on our radio and says the parents are here. I peek my head out and wave them over and begin to introduce myself when the entitled dad interrupts me.
We specifically asked for a view of the water.
I responded and tell him that I'm sorry. I don't make those decisions. Please let me finish my admit process and then we can go talk to the charge nurse. The entitled mom mutters, "Ridiculous," under her breath. I'm used to unreasonable patient and patient family requests. It's literally part of my job almost every shift. But I knew by the soccer mom, PTA president, mom haircut, and "I'm offensive, get over it" shirt from the dad that I was in for a long haul. RIP, I was only 4 hours into a 12-hour day. The PT is nice. I get him settled and hooked up to monitors, and I tell the parents I will talk to the charge nurse. Charge nurse tells me that yes, she did get the request, but unfortunately, we are full census and have really no spare rooms. She tells me how they keep asking to bring them to her. I let the parents know. They complain and moan, but otherwise I thought they were settling in. About an hour later, the PCA pump is beeping, letting us know that the ketamine drip is nearly done. The doctor had already told the PT and the parents that once this drip was done, they're going to take PT off of it and start moving towards better and less dangerous medication. The PT understands and agrees and says that the ketamine makes him feel way too drowsy and funny. Well, I tell my nurse, we go in and unhook him from the drip. We warn him and say he's definitely going to start feeling some pain now, but that they've got some pain meds ordered. Like I said, I thought the parents were settled. They'd both been on their phones getting coffee, etc. Well, after about an hour, the PT calls and asks if he can get something for the aching. I call my nurse and she tells me she's in the middle of something but can get some Tylenol. I let the PT know. He's okay with that and maybe an ice pack. This is where the nonsense starts.
Why can't he have better pain medicine? My baby is in pain.
Well, ketamine is really not good in the long term and it's dangerous. The Tylenol will be at a high dose and I know for sure that will help.
This is bullcrap. First we get swindled out of the room we want, and now you're making my kid sit here in pain. Get me the charge nurse. I'm filing a complaint.
So I get the charge nurse and she's unamused and says she can certainly file the complaint, but that's not going to get the PT on ketamine again, or a room since we literally have no spare rooms on any floor that could take care of the PT. The parents are both talking lowly to each other, basically talking crap about the staff. The poor PT is definitely embarrassed, kept repeatedly telling his parents to please stop, he's fine, etc. I come back in and the entitled mom gets in my face and demands more ketamine for her kid.
I went into the room across the hall and saw the nurse had hooked that guy up to more ketamine. Why are you making my child sit in pain? That old guy doesn't need that. Just go get his.
Ma'am, you're not allowed in other patients' rooms, and the doctors have a very good reason to take your son off that drip. Please calm down. I will page the doctor.
Listen here, you fat biatch. You're making my son sit here in pain.
At this point, I walk out, close the door, and call security. My hospital does not deal with patients or families being aggressive or abusive like this. Security comes and escorts the father off the premises. My charge nurse comes and tells me she's going to have to take over care, and I'm thankfully free of this terrible family. If I know anything about a hospital, it's that they're not hotels. You usually don't have the choice to reserve a room with a view. Also, if the doctor's got good reason to take someone off of a drug, you don't argue with the doctor. Most of the time they know what they're talking about. I mean, don't get it twisted, doctors can be wrong sometimes. But really, people, you want your 14-year-old son to come out of the hospital addicted to ketamine or something? Yeah, good luck with that.
Okay, I think it's time we move on to the next post.
It is called Two Entitled Parents Strike at the Same Time. One doesn't know how ice cream works, and the other doesn't know how coupons work.
I have recently started a job at my local Dairy Queen. This past week, I encountered my first entitled parent, and as it turns out, there were 2 separate cases happening at the same time. It was my first day working at the register, so understandably things were going a tad slower than usual. Most of the customers were sympathetic, and others were understandably frustrated, but everything was reasonably calm. Towards the beginning of the dinner rush, I had just accidentally placed the wrong order, so I had to restart, the whole process taking a few minutes extra. The customer was really cool about it, and eventually got their food exactly how they ordered. The next customer is entitled parent. He seemingly jokingly says,
"You'd better not mess up my order,"
with a grin on his face. Me, being the awkward person I am, I just kind of smile back and ask what I can get for him. He orders his food, and he also ordered a blizzard. However, he orders his to be held for a few minutes so he can eat his food first, a normal occurrence. In the kitchen, we knew we were about to get a ton of orders, so we made their ice cream right after, and we just stored it in the freezer for about 5 minutes, which is normally what we do when holding ice cream while we finish the rest of it. When the entitled parent wants his ice cream, I guess he sees us take it out of the freezer. We bring it to him, and the following dialogue ensues. "Here's your blizzard, sir."
No, I'm not going to take this. I want it fresh.
"Sir, we just made this."
I just saw you take it out of the freezer.
When you order a blizzard on hold, we keep it in the freezer for a few minutes before we hand it out.
Just make me a new one.
So coworker and I just go in the back and scoop the ice cream into a new cup and blend it again before handing it to him. This seems to content EP, and he walks off. This won't be the last we see of him though. Not 2 minutes after this exchange, an older couple and what seems to be their 2 grandchildren enter and order a good amount of food. At this point, the entitled granny is already aggravated by having to pay extra for sides like gravy and for a drink, but she obliges and finishes her order. After her family eats, she approaches the counter and looks very intense for some reason. She completely bypasses me and demands to see the manager. The manager is in the back doing paperwork, so a supervisor comes to the rescue, thrusting 2 coupons for free small ice cream cones in the supervisor's face.
In adjacent city, they let us use these to get free medium blizzards, so my kids will take 2 of those.
Ma'am, these are 4 ice cream cones, not blizzards.
But in
adjacent city,
they let us.
This isn't adjacent city, and our manager is stricter on the rules about this.
But it's the same price.
A small ice cream cone is $1. You're trying to redeem these coupons for menu items that cost $4 each. At this point, entitled granny is shouting at the supervisor, but supervisor isn't intimidated at all. However, the manager hears the commotion and comes to take over. Entitled granny makes the same argument, and manager is a lot more firm in telling her that the coupon won't work for anything other than small ice cream cones. She buckles, and manager lets me take the order. Entitled granny puts the coupons down and says that she wants to get 2 medium blizzards and to use those coupons to pay for part of it. I nod and just charge her full price and take her coupons. As she walks away, she says,
"I will be filing a complaint to corporate about this."
It took a lot of willpower for me not to reply, "Go ahead." Suddenly, as if they were in cahoots, entitled dad comes back and orders 2 small blizzards, presumably for his kids. He is visually aggravated at me in particular, but the exchange goes smoothly. He orders 2 normal Oreo blizzards, we bring them out, and I see him take the ice cream back to his kids, who look super excited to get it, but then he huffs, takes them from his kids, and brings them back to the counter. "Is there a problem, sir?"
Yeah, there isn't enough Oreo in this. My kids won't eat it. We shouldn't have to pay for service like this.
The normal amount of Oreo is in those blizzards. If you want, you can upsize them to extra.
I want you to make these extra Oreo, and I want a full refund.
I can't do that, sir. Entitled parent yells for the manager, but supervisor comes and explains that we won't give a refund if you change your mind about your order. He glares at me and then supervisor, then just goes back to the table, and he and his kids leave. I was so relieved to clock out that night. Ooh yeah, nothing like back-to-back entitled parents on your first night at the register. Now, I would never, ever, ever want to work another customer service job simply because there are entitled people like that in the world. And you and I both know that working at a register, you will be bound to see people like that almost on the daily.
But the coupon says buy one get one free.
Well, first of all, sir, that coupon is expired. And second of all, that coupon is for a different store entirely.
But the coupon!
Yeah, some people just don't have great critical thinking.
Anyway, I think I got time for one more post. It is called EM Causes a Scene at the Theater.
So, I just want to start out by saying this only happened about 2 hours ago, and I'm still mad. So I'm sorry if I spell anything wrong or such. I also might have been a little bit bratty, but I was really excited to see this movie, and I didn't want this lady to ruin it. A little backstory. I'm almost 15, and I'm a pretty shy kid. I tend to keep to myself, and if something is annoying me, I just tune it out. But today, I woke up feeling not so good, and I'm still getting over being sick, so I don't feel great, and I'm kind of ticked for no reason. My mom and I went to go see the new live-action Dumbo movie, because that was one of my favorites when I was growing up, and I was excited for the new one. We get into the theater as the trailers are rolling, not because we were late, but because the guy in front didn't let us in until then. I don't have any idea why. I only knew that this set me off a bit, and clearly another family was too. The man in said family was looking really antsy, and I could tell he was upset by not being let in sooner. That may sound entitled, but this theater normally lets us in almost 30 minutes before the trailers even start. So it was a bit of a surprise to not be let in until after it started. This man, we'll call him Antsy Dad, argued with the guy up front a bit, not much, but enough to get both of them a little mad. After we've finally been let in, we all find seats fast and watch the last trailer, and the D-Box trailer and stuff that always plays beforehand. My mom and I sit in the very back, and the Antsy Dad sit 2 rows in front of us.
Enter entitled mother and entitled kid.
About 20 minutes into the movie, this mother and her kid enter the theater, making literally as much noise as possible. The kid stomps up the stairs and the mother says,
"Let's sit up there."
in an unusually loud voice. They make their way up and sit dramatically down right in front of us. I can tell they're going to be trouble, but I just ignore them and keep watching the movie. The kid looks to be a 7 or 8 year old girl, but acts like she's 5 the whole time. She's bouncing in her seat, she crunches popcorn like she's doing ASMR, and worst of all, she clapped after anything remotely exciting happened. This wouldn't have been a problem, kids will be kids after all, if the entitled mother wasn't encouraging it too. She crunched her popcorn and clapped, not as much as the entitled kid, but still a lot, and she was on her phone almost the whole time, with half a bar of brightness, which is super distracting when you're behind it.
Alright, this is fine.
I move over 3 seats to avoid the light and the noise, and my mom follows. This is fine for a bit, until my mom leaves to use the bathroom. The bathroom is so far away from where we are though, so I know it's going to be a bit. She left during one of the most important parts of the movie though, which is probably good for her actually. Almost as soon as she leaves, the movie escalates, and not only the entitled kid, but the entitled mom clap and holler. I'm surprised she was even paying attention, with her phone screen shining brighter than her personality. Alright, I've had enough. I scoot over and lean close, as most people do when they want someone to quiet down. I lean to her right, and she just continues to stare at her phone. After a few seconds I give a little throat clearing. She looks at me, then looks back at her phone. I speak up, and the conversation goes like this. I'm sorry, but could you mind keeping it down a bit? Or maybe stop clapping? That last part was a bit quieter because I was afraid of what would happen if I said it.
I'm sorry, honey. You're going to have to speak a little louder.
She spoke in a normal speaking voice, and almost everyone else in the theater turned to look at us. I said, could you mind not clapping, please?
Why? What's wrong with me clapping? I'm not disturbing anyone.
She turns to look at me and starts speaking very loud directly in my face. Actually, it's pretty annoying. Just keep it down, please. I wish I hadn't said this. Then, this biatch had the audacity to stare me right in the face and start power clapping. She then hollers stuff like, "Woo! Go Dumbo!"
See? No one cares, so mind your effing business.
The ironic thing was literally everyone else in the theater had their eyes on her now. She starts clapping again, and the kid joins in. I scoot over again, and I lean in so both of them can hear me. Excuse me, but would you please mind keeping it down?
Get away from me.
The kid looks startled as if she didn't see me there before, which I know she did.
Hey, get away from my daughter, you creep.
She stands up and stares at me. This wouldn't be a problem if she wasn't so tall that her head blocked a bit of the screen. Hey lady, sit down, you're causing a scene. I'm so glad he stepped in.
I'm causing a scene? Well, I'm sorry for trying to let my daughter watch her first movie.
which I can tell is probably true for the entitled kid and mom, judging by their theater manners.
I'm trying to watch a movie here, so shut the F up.
He stands up and faces her. My mom walks in at the most convenient time, of course, right as the entitled mom yells.
Fine, if we're not wanted here, we'll go then.
Entitled mom grabs the kid's hand and very forcefully yanks her out of her seat and down the stairs, right past my mom. They walk out, and they left literally all their popcorn and drinks there. As my mom sits back down, the antsy dad starts walking towards us and takes a seat next to me. He leans in and starts whispering, which probably looks strange to my mom, but she didn't question it.
Look, I just wanted to say, I saw the whole thing, and I want to thank you for speaking up.
Me? Yeah, I spoke up, but you stood up to her. You made her leave. I wanted to thank you.
Hey, no sweat, kid. Enjoy the movie.
He gets up and walks back to his seat, and we watched the movie in peace. The entitled kid walked in a few minutes later, grabbed her popcorn and soda, and dashed back without a word. In the end, it was a decent experience, and I feel better now, knowing I told that lady off. Now, if there's one thing I can't stand at a movie, it's when people clap. Sure, it's one thing if the movie was amazing and you all clap at the end, but if there's just one or two people clapping at anything remotely interesting happening, please just stop. Maybe even consider hopping over to the live-action Dora the Explorer movie. I'm sure there will be tons of other clappers at that movie, and you guys can all clap together at every scene. Well, I think this video has been going on long enough. I do hope you've enjoyed these entitled parent stories. And I would also like to apologize for the late upload. I've been pretty busy and desperately needed to catch up on some sleep. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and spending some time with me. And as always, don't forget your tea before you go.